Good morning, church. I'm Sarah Grant, and I work with Next Gen and Worship, and I am coming to you today with Psalm 144. And the thing that I love about David is that he is so raw and real, and he brings his whole self to the Lord. So one of the things that he says to start is that he praises the Lord right off the bat. So he's saying, and he gets to what he needs also, but he starts out and says, "Praise to the Lord, my rock." And then he goes on and he's reminding himself, and he is praising the Lord at the same time. Because sometimes when we're praising the Lord for the things that he has done and who he is, we're actually reminding our souls who God is. So God designed it like that so that we would actually be fed by our praise. It's pretty remarkable. But I love that he praises first, then he humbles himself and says, "Oh Lord, what is man that you care for him? The son of man that you think of him? Man is like a breath. His days are like a fleeting shadow." And then he asks the Lord, "Part your heavens, O Lord, and come down." He's asking for a rescue. He's asking the Lord for something big, something huge, for deliverance from his enemies, his physical enemies. And then he says, "I will sing a new song to you." And then he reminds himself again. He declares that the Lord is good, that he gives victory to kings, delivers his servant from the deadly sword. Then he asks again, "Deliver me and rescue me." Then he says, "Then our sons in their youth." And then he goes on in that whole section to ask for their children, their livestock, their city to be restored and to be plentiful and fruitful, for abundance. So he's acting out of this idea of that God does not give sparingly, he gives abundantly, and that he loves to give to his children. And I'm not talking about like a prosperity gospel here. I'm talking about a God who loves to give to his children, a father who loves to give to his children. And when we ask out of the Lord's desire, he gives us a new shift in perspective. He gives us the desires of our heart. And hopefully when we are praying to God and praising him, our perspective is actually shifted to what God desires, not just the tangible things and the things that we need, that we think we need on this earth, but the desires of abundance so that we can give. Or when we pray and we're asking for God's desire, we're actually asking for a new lens to see people well so that we can give abundantly to them, so that we can see them and love them abundantly. And I love that. Then he says, "Blessed are the people of whom this is true. Blessed are the people whose God is the Lord." In another version, it says, "Joyful are those." And so many times I think that we struggle with joy, especially in America, because sometimes we take for granted all of the abundance that we do have in this area, especially. And so when I look at this and I think of what David was going through and he had fear and probably a lot of worry. He was a pretty emotional guy, so I'm assuming that he went through all of the regular emotions that we go through. And if our enemies were attacking us, we would be worrisome and fearful as well. But he's actually acting out of bravery here and saying, "God, I know you can do this. And I trust you and I love you. And I trust what you're going to do with this, but I'm going to pray into it." So I love his joy despite his circumstances. And so today, what I would love for us to do is just set a timer and ask God, where are you trying to bring joy to my life? Where are the things that I've actually just been seeing the circumstance, but I need a shift in perspective to see what you have already done, who you are, so that I can go in and trust you more. And that will give you joy despite your circumstances, because that is the desire of God's heart. He wants us to have a different perspective, to see the kingdom and to see his purpose in things, so that we can go and be a light to other people. And so today, church, I hope this was encouraging, and I encourage you to do that exercise so that we are just all, imagine if all of us are just shifting our focus to not see our circumstances as one thing, but to see them as a learning or growth opportunity, to be more intentional in joy and gratitude with the things that God has given us already and who He is already, that we can live into that. So church, we love you, and we hope you join us again tomorrow for another Daily Hope.